Hello everybody, well we're in another Q&A and straight into it, the question that's probably on everyone's lips this week: did it pass? The truck went in for MOT, didn't it, on Monday morning? Of course it did. Yeah, it did, yeah, no problems at all. I did turn around to the guy we were doing the rolling brake test. It's only the second time I've ever taken anything for MOT. I normally give it to the mechanics take it for MOT with cars. But the lorries I seem to do myself. And I'm doing a rolling brake test, and then I realised I had it in drive instead of neutral, and I thought, oh, if that's clever, that's probably not good. And I said to the geezer, I went, I've just had that in drive, I don't know if that made any difference. And he went, no, don't worry about it, you're through. So that was it, lovely. 5 new tyres, thanks to Ian, actually got a deal on those. Had to do something about the engine warning light. I used to get a yellow engine warning light come on and it would go off. Turned out to be a dicky oil pressure sensor. I reckon the off thing cost me £1,000. But for the MOT and the truck, 5 new tyres, good to go for another year. Brilliant. So that's all cool. On top of which, Harry got a tug from the DVSA, and we got a clean bill of health on that one. That's all of these things go to help my ORS score. Things I'm learning about. So, but that was me. And then of course, then there's this week's videos. Probably the most pertinent one we did: people and pets. Running with people and pets in the cab, and I said, have you any experience of it? Have you guys had any ideas? And if you have, you been kind enough to come back, so time to share. So Dale Steele says, he said, funny you should post this video. Yeah, let's get it closer. Might sound better. Oh, hello, that's scary. He said, funny you should post this video. I did a drop at a famous biscuit makers. I had, hey. He said, had my 13-year-old in the cab. He had to wait by the entrance, got to be 18 or older to enter. He said, odd as the power station was 16, and you would think it would be more dangerous than a few Jemmy Dodgers rolling around the site. On this note, though, I do actually think it is unprofessional taking kids or dogs. You're probably right. In fact, I would agree with you. Yes, it is. I think, but if it's something you do once in a blue moon, can you have the kids while they're, can you have a day out with granddad because it's half term and we've got to go to work? And then really, I mean, I think we come down to it, if you know where you're going, it's a different matter. But if you don't know where you're going, I think Dale mentioned this in one of the replies to one of the comments, if you don't know where you're going, you're kind of up against it, and you Long Finger says, he said, I've had to take the kids to work with me. Most places just say they must stay in the van. Dogs are normally okay, but there are places that won't let them in, like the MOD. It's caused a headache. My mate always had his dog with him. As long as it was quiet and out of sight, you're kind of okay. I suppose there is the other option, that it only becomes an issue if they notice it. If you've got a well-trained dog and you go, right, I need a blanket, if they don't know, but if they do find out, then they're going, mate, what's going on? So, like I say, easier not to take him if you don't have to. Nick says, once did the delivery to Rolls Royce, wouldn't let me with my dog, small, so I had to politely ask the building working on the house opposite if I could leave it in his van for a while I did the delivery. So there was like a builder in the van opposite, said, mate, can I leave my dog in your van? And again, yeah, you do what you've got to do, don't you, really? Oh yeah, Tajesh Patel says, Pete, you're a genius. He said, I've been searching for the name of that plant for ages. Buddleia. I've got one over there. They go, yeah, they're right. Butterflies love them. My garden so needs one. They grow like Billy-O. Honestly, don't buy a big one. I got ones like that, and now they're like that. And he said they've been in there for about 3 months. They really grow like mad. So you would trim them back at the end of each season, otherwise you get loads of woody bits. Suddenly it's like Alan Titchmarsh or whatever's on. He says, so I agree with everything in the video. Just to add about pets, if transporting goods, medicine, etc., there's a chance of contamination. So I'm guessing it can cause a bigger and more expensive problem if certain goods are considered contaminated as a result of having a pet nearby. I'd say the safest way is just, if you don't have to do it, don't do it. If you have to do it, then you're going to have to find a way. But be aware of the fact you are probably going to encounter problems along the way. Gary says, been running a couple of years now with my small dog securely strapped in my Luton cab. 95% of places don't have any problems. Places I've had problems are high security prisons, yeah, I can imagine, yeah, naval bases and an MOD site. Weighing up the cost of paying for daycare versus occasionally finding someone to look after the dog while I'm on the job, it's well worth the risk to have my little companion with me. Also, be aware of weather conditions, as couldn't run with a dog in a recent heat. This is true. Dogs die in hot cars, which is also the name of an Australian band. Well, actually quite good. John Pacey says, took my pet tiger on a job once. Is that a real tiger, John, or have we got a Calvin and Hobbes thing going on here? Calvin and Hobbes, incidentally, is a comic by Bill Watson. You may just be able to make them out over there. Yeah, about a young, I suppose he's about an 6-year-old boy, and he's a Major Tiger. If you've never read it, I highly recommend it. It's very funny. Shane Hardy says, so no to goldfish? No, because all the water spills out as you go around corners. What about a couple of hamsters on wheels? Keep the wheels turning and lower your costs. Main takeaway from this is to get the father-in-law to come with me, can pay him in Monster energy drinks and fresh air while possibly taking a few extra quid. Yeah, the hamster wheel thing, I think you're missing out on a trick. We could have like a green energy thing here. Maybe we could have the wheels, the hamster wheels, sort of connected to maybe like an alternator. Could be charging the battery, charging the night heater, get the hamsters running at the night time, keep the cab warm, that kind of thing. I wonder how much energy they're producing to you have to pay them in hamster food. Probably have to do a graph on that. David JM says, and I think this is the final one on the issue, to be honest with you. Yeah, it is, yeah. Pete, really confuse them and by saying it's a guide dog. Did that once. Went into a pub, like a terrier. I'd take a terrier for a walk for a friend of mine. Went in to get a pint. The guy says no dogs. I went, yeah, he says my guide dog. He said, don't be daft. He said, if it's a guide dog, then they give you like a golden retriever or a Labrador or something like that. I went, oh yeah? Which one did I get? That didn't happen. Right. On the subject of mentalness, of course. Pimp my ride. Yeah, I decided to chrome the wheels. I actually think he looks all right. And I've got rid of the clown indicators. We've now got the green ones, and I ripped the curtain this week. I caught it on a wall. I might have actually knocked the wall down as well, but we're debating on whether I did or didn't do that one. That's another story. But yeah, the curtain's been fixed. Good old Mark has been up there this morning with a heat gun and some things. We've got to paint it again. I'll get onto that one. But I sprayed the wheels. So Dale Steele says, really needed the Benny Hill tune playing over this. I can't put real music over the videos, because if you put real music over the videos, then due to copyright, you can't put the ads on. But what you end up doing is YouTube's got its own studio, and you try to find similar music. So if anyone knows a Benny Hill tune type music on the YouTube studio, let me know and I'll add it in future videos. Having said that, the clown one I've got I think is pretty good. Nigel Griffiths says, nice one, Pete, love it. I've always thought prepping was massively overrated tool, and that a spray can was good. He said that the spray can was like clearing the TARDIS inside, unlike the curtain paint. Nigel Griffiths is my oldest friend. I have known him since I was 11 years old. I'm now 52. We went out for a beer on Thursday. Thanks, mate. Hello, Nigel. You alright? Hey. Second Real Neil says, Jesus, Pete, he likes the videos. Thank you, Real Neil. He says, but massive gapper tape tears, no teeth needed. I think it's one of them. So I think some people, it might be like chalk on a blackboard or cotton wool. It's like, don't do that. You know, so anyway, it's done there, mate. Martin says the clown indicators seem to have detected one. I don't know what he means by that one. What? I'm not sure, Martin. Let me know. Nick at London Creative, he says, well, it looks better from the curtain for sure. Yeah, but in fairness, you're setting the bar very low there, Nick. You know, it really doesn't have to do an awful lot to look better than the curtain, which we'll be getting another lick of paint and probably another video, and then I'll unveil the final finished project of what Veronica actually finally looks like once all the bits and pieces have been done. David JM says, well, Pete, he said, 2 of the jobs I've done in my life are vehicle paint sprayer, lorries and cars, and valet for a used car company, which messes with my fingers. He said, arthritis, and yes, after seeing you, he said, yes, after seeing the videos, I had nightmares. I now wonder how long it would be before you go looking for a lorry you can't find it. You have shown us your expertise. Will your daughter offer you a job? Don't give up the day job. No, I very much doubt my daughter will offer me a job, although she's kind of very much like me in the sort of slapdash attitude. Mole's doing the interior design thing. She's got videos on YouTube. I'll do you a link. She was on that Interior Design Masters on the BBC, and as I tell you now, you get on one of those shows on the BBC, you think they're going to be minted for life. Nothing happens. The star prize is you get to design this hotel in Devon. So I live in Scotland. I've got to try to Devon to design a hotel for free, and then nothing happens. But she's still doing it. She still keeps hammering away. Hopefully one day she'll get a bit of traction. Good luck to her, eh? Off-grid T-Bone says, he says, you need a deck of cards, Pete. Absolutely fantastic. Wedge them in between the rim and the tyres. So presumably, as I drive down, it makes a like we used to do with our bikes. Put it in between the spokes. Get noise. Good idea. I'll give it a go. So, fripperies aside, we're now on to the wise guys. I've had a couple from Steve, who knows his onions. Because I said, what is a limited quantity of ADR? He said, in limited quantities of ADR, you don't have to have an ADR ticket if you're transported limited quantities of any that is ADR, such as like, so if you've got like less than a full pallet of batteries, if you've only got a little bit of ADR, then it counts. Who makes the rules on what is and what isn't, I don't know. But like I said, we always take these loads on faith anyway, so yeah, we'll see about that moving forward. Steve Campbell also said, on the points on your licence, points on your licence are valid for 3 years, then they expire. They stay on your licence for an extra year, 4 years, but the final year shows has expired. So they're still there, but they don't count. Which begs the question, why are they there then? After the 4th year, they're gone completely. You're supposed to tell your insurance for up to 5 years, but if they can't see the point on your licence after the 4th year, you could just say, I forgot. Which is fine, as long as they don't find out. I remember we had one of the guys when I was running the markets, and my mate Nigel, Earworm Nige, someone torpedoed his car, one of those kind of claimy things. Like he got hit by a 6 people carrier, and then suddenly the guy put in for 6 claims of whiplash. Nige went, there weren't even 6 people in the car, there was only 1 person in the car. So I actually had a guy come down and we had to do like an interview and chat it all up to try and say the guy was a shyster. And the guy said, if an insurer knows that you're lying, they'll still take your money. So if you turn around and say you're a motor vehicle trader, but they know for a fact that you've just got 3 cars and you want them all on the Jeep, they'll take your money. And then the second you have an accident, they'll go, yeah, you're not a motor vehicle trader, we're not paying. So you're still insured to drive, but if you actually have an accident, suddenly you realise the whole bill's on your head. So that's something to consider also, guys, out there. And Steve also said, in regard, because we've done, and Steve, opening curtain sides in the wind. He said, you need to remember the roof of the box. Some roofs are okay with driving with the curtains open, but most, the roof will blow a hole in it or off altogether. They're not designed to be load bearing. He says Uber Eats such. Do you need license to have food? Uber Eats, no license needed unless you're driving, and then a driving license is needed, and food courier insurance. Food courier insurance. That's a new one. Don't know about that. And Godzilla's also says on license for food. He said no. Ambient is room temperature. Right, this is another definition I didn't know. Ambient is room temperature. 5 degrees is chilled. -20 is frozen. The rest is hot. Nonetheless, none need a license. Van pricing. He said not 100%. So I'll leave it all to others. He said about we're on the curtains. He said there's a question. Curtains can and will hold the box on the back to its shape. Air resistance can fold the box backward, at which point you're in a world of pain. Arctics have sideboards which support the roof, and this stops, but the 18 tons don't. Again, like Steve says, the biggest pain is the roof itself. There's a thin sheet of fiberglass, and there's a very good chance it won't be there when you get to where you're going. Then to finish it off, the back doors will need strapping both back together and to the bed. As you can imagine, a 50-mile-an-hour wind hitting an object already enduring 56 miles an hour, then it's asking for everything to buckle. So for me, I wouldn't dream of doing this. I don't like the idea either. The whole idea. The only thing I think it could be possible is if you had to cross a bridge, and they said it's a very high wind, so you'd have to tie your curtains right back, go over the bridge at like 10, 15, 20 miles an hour, and the second you get over the bridge, put it all back together again. The whole idea of driving that structure down, I think you're right. I think the whole thing would just go, you'll end up with a rhombus. Not great. Neptune Courier says, we're on the overloading thing, because he's got his own channel out there, Neptune Courier, check him out. Also, he says, because he's doing a transport manager thing, I think he is a transport manager, so someone needs a transport manager, we've got a guy in the wings, possibly, unless he's booked up. He says, hi, re-overloading and putting on my transport manager hat. It is an accepted situation by the DVSA that if you think you may be overloaded, you can proceed to the nearest weighbridge. If you are overloaded, you are also permitted to move to a suitable location to have the load removed, the part removed. This has been in debate. Once you know you're overloading, are you allowed to go back on the carriageway? Because if you go back on the carriageway, then you know that you are overweight and you've still gone back on the road. I think it depends on all kinds of situations. But again, the best thing to do would be to ring them and go, I'm overweight. You've got to get someone to come and get this weight off me because I can't go anywhere. It's not my fault they overloaded me. But you do you. And finally, otherwise, guys, because I asked Dale Steele to clarify, because he said if his invoices don't get paid, he puts interest on them. He said, I've never actually charged interest because when you email them reminding them that interest is being incurred, they normally pay it immediately. It's definitely worth adding to the bottom of your invoice, i.e. late payments will be charged interest rate of 6% or above banking a rate of 6% above bank interest rate, Bank of England interest rate. The benefit is that if you get a non-payer, you have to issue proceedings. You can add interest the whole duration. It will make a small debt worthwhile issuing court proceedings for you. And I think that's good advice. So thanks very much for that, Dale. I will have a chat with the office and make sure that we've done the same. Brilliant. And I think Godzilla's also said you can actually charge 8%. Legally, you can charge up to 8%. So once again, guys, thanks for your input. And now the miscellaneous. JFKJ says, I currently do Uber Eats. He said work is drying up. I was making an easy £500 a week during lockdown. Now I'm barely scraping £200 a week. I'm looking into getting a van and getting on the CX. Watched a couple of vids now. Thanks for your advice, mate. You know where we are if you need us. He also says when you supply an invoice, you set the payment terms, not the buyer. But the problem is, you say these are my terms, you must abide by them, and they say these are our terms, you must abide by them. And there's no definite who's right, who's wrong. It just becomes kind of like a negotiation. It works itself out. Cosgrove Knotts says, not going to make a living here. I presume he's talking about the exchange. Cosgrove, some do, some don't. It's not for everybody. You know, you try it, you like it, you don't. Do something else. Be happy. I hope you're happy. TC Services says, I gave a while ago. I gave up a while ago and trying to hit a target for a day, as you never know where you'll end up each day. Sometimes I find a job going to a certain area, which I know I should be able to find a job coming back, only to sit there for over an hour and nothing pops up. I'm running a short wheelbase van. I get up to £1 a mile and 90p a mile for a small van. High fuel prices and dead miles are the biggest problems, and it's very rare I can get a job back home. I'm getting a few of you have also commented. Your man at what's it? Road Runners, Road Rocket, something like that. He's put a bit in as well. So I'm getting an idea, and we will do an up-to-date one on what I think you're charging on vans. It has gone up. When I started, it was like 50, 65p a mile for a small van and like £1 for a Luton. Now it strikes me everything's gone up pro rata. It's now more like 85, 90p for a small van and more like 120, 150 for a Luton. Curtain side's even more. We apparently pay up to £2. So, but then I'll have to speak to the office and find that one out. It will depend, of course, on the area, the sort of what other bids we get in, all that kind of stuff, you know. But we'll do one on that one. Yeah. As for the target, I think sometimes it's just like, it's a bit like the one we do about pointless points. You know, with the one where I'm nearly a champion on Road Lords, 2,500 points, and I'll get champion, which I'll probably do in the next couple of weeks, which means nothing. Some points have got points, like Amazon Flex. I'm an Amazon Flex master expert. Nobody cares. Do pay you any more money? No. But yeah, we'll do that one, and then of course the points on your license. Some points do matter. Zolvor says, thinking of getting my own van and getting into this. Like I say, mate, you've got any questions, any problems, you know where to find us. Just stick it in the comments under the videos. Someone will answer it for you. Ting Ting said, because I did that one on Brethren Pizza. One that, again, I thought I was going to get a job coming back, like nothing. He says, so you don't actually work for a company, you bid on jobs. Never seen this before, it's interesting. Ting Ting, it's the courier exchange. And if you're in a lorry, it's a haulage exchange. It's what most of the people that watch this channel probably do, although a few of you just couriers, and some people, like some bloke in Australia, has nothing to do with it, just enjoys it, which I'm really pleased about. Thanks very much, if you're still watching. But yeah, it's out there, mate. Google it. If you Google it, just give them a ring. I don't get nothing out of them, so I'm sure you'll find your own way, but they're around. So, Mike Withers says, cheers for the video, Pete. Hello, mate. No worries. He said, I'm 22 and just passed my class 2, so I'm looking for my first job. The whole idea of picking up a cheap 18 or 26 tonne and getting on the CX is something I want to do in the next few years. I know it's hard graft, but being able to choose your own way sounds brilliant. It is quite nice, actually. When I was a kid, I watched that BJ McKay and the Bear. It was about this guy, and I think he had an orangutan or a monkey or something like that. Probably nicked the idea off Clint Eastwood. And he was just driving around America in a truck with the monkey, just doing jobs, and of course solving crime and falling in love with beautiful women, as you do in these kind of shows. And I think, and he also had a horn that you put it down and I've always wanted one of those. I had one on my first 7.5 tonne, but it didn't have the chainy bit. You just had to press the button. I might get one for Veronica one day. And finally, for those of you that are still here, the Godzillas, I asked him to clarify because he got done reversing on a motorway. And he said, so the story of reversing on the motorway. I get a call one afternoon of all people, the West Midlands Police. Your sister has broken down on the M42. She's requested yourself, can you go out and save her? Okay, let's rock. So driving past where they said she was. No, then I spot her on the other side. Okay, next junction, back down the road, come past her, pull in with the hazards and back up to her car. Jump out, open the boots, grab a tow rope, turn round to find an unhappy cop. Did you just reverse down the motorway? He said, yes, mate. He said, it's an events to do, blah, blah, blah. I said, mate, it's a 2-tonne Merc. I'm not pushing it up to my car to attach a tow rope now, am I? Apparently I was meant to push her broken car 500 foot to mine and then tow off. He said, common sense straight away bounced out the window. Then to really upset me, he reversed down the motorway, bounced over the curb, across the grass to join the right-hand lane on the slip road and the off-ramp, right next to where we were. Complaint went into West Midlands Police, which was ignored. Followed up, but told nothing to answer for as they were doing their duty. And then he says, "I like this. There's justice and there's just us. Let's say it left a bit of taste." I got done once. I was driving down the motorway with Lisa and Molly, who was a baby, and there was steam pouring out the front of my car, the bonnet, and there was a queue of traffic. So I went on the hard shoulder to get off at the next junction. As I'm driving down the hard shoulder, there's a police car behind me. I thought, oh, great. So I jumped out and went, oh, thank God you're here. Have you got any water on board? They went, you do realise it's illegal to ride down the hard shoulder. I went, I've broken down. There's steam coming out the front of my car. I'm trying to get it off the motorway to get to a safe place, to get to the petrol station. He said, no. He said, you can't do that. You can't drive down, the hard shoulder. He said, you get points for this. All right, so then I sat there, filled it all in. And then when it was done, he said, right, what I recommend you do now is drive down the hard shoulder, pull off and get to the petrol station. Which is what I was doing anyway. Like you say, mate, justice and just us. What you going to do? Wipe mouth, walk away. Tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow is another day and a chance to take care and take money.